So, hello again, folks. Here I am again. Yes, I am perfectly fine with the from the coronavirus. I hope you guys are too. And lately I've been wanting to accept some of my oldest requests that I've gotten maybe a long time ago. But this request that I'm doing right now is actually a very young one. Let's see. I've got maybe three people tell me to do this, and it took me some time to think and think. Well, maybe I should, but I haven't really been able to decide very easily on when to do it until not too long ago. I've asked you guys if I should do this request, and I got probably about 10 people say yes, I should do it. So thanks everyone for doing that. So now I'm about to give it a shot, and you know what? I think today is actually not that bad of a day to try it out, cause that coronavirus is just has just turned us all into a lot of people into like Quasimodos and stuff. Just for safety reasons and stuff. And but I wonder how much people are just ringing a bunch of bells just to just as one of their methods of breaking up boredom against the coronavirus that's got us all cooped up and stuff. Ugh. Ugh. This is I now consider this video to be one of my own lines of defense against the boredom that's been caused of the coronavirus. So yeah, I am now going to show you how big my collection has gotten from just 3 models. They were Thomas, James, and Gordon, to an entire collection of movie props. That's right, from 2005, I think, to now and stuff. Now the way we're going to do this is I'm basically going to do 3 sections. The first section is going to be some models that are still perfectly functional, and the second section is going to show some models that are sadly pretty much past their expiration dates. Maybe they're still good for puppeteering work, but their motors are just. Yeah, that's kind of sad for me to think and say. Anyway, the third and final section is when you're gonna see some models that I have not shown yet in YouTube video, but yep, they're going to be sooner or later. Anyway, let's take a look at the first section that I just got done setting up about an hour ago. So here it is. It's yeah, feel free to say wow at this. This is quite massive and stuff. See, the whole table's nearly full, because that's how big the collection is so far. There's still a bunch of models just sitting around waiting for their turn. Anyway, keep in mind, some of these models are replacements of previous character models that are completely broken, and while some have rusty battery insertment stems, but are still perfectly functional and stuff, and some are going to have some pretty good, interesting facts of the history of my collecting life. For instance, here's my Tomy, like Tamika Thomas, that I've been using for almost all my videos since the beginning of my career and stuff. I think I've had this model since before I was a YouTuber and stuff. I think it's think it came from Walmart or something. But anyway, this is just one of those models that I'm replacing some old broken models and stuff and whatnot. I think it's maybe the third or second standard Thomas model I've gotten in my life, but yes, this that's pretty much it. It is still perfectly fine. Although at one point when I was filming video, its motor was making some high-pitched whining and stuff, but it's I think it stopped on its own or something. Quite mysterious and stuff. Anyway, moving on. There's my homemade American flag Thomas. It's this one still functions, yeah, but it's just it's quite cool. Well, I like it. I just keep it as a souvenir. Anyway, moving on. Here's a there's another Thomas model that I've been having since for a pretty long time. Like since I think I got this one before this one. Anyway, that's just the Steam Thomas that came with the Steam Along Thomas set. You know, that model that travels really fast and just plays sound effects and stuff. And you put water into its water tank and stuff. Not the funnel. The funnel's a no-no. But, you know, this model I got now, it can't really play its sound effects very well. But its motor still works, just not as functional as it used to. I think I'm gonna get a replacement model of it just for old time's sake. But I will tell you, when I first got it, with the help of my grandma, I was all over this model, just playing it for more than an hour and stuff as a kid. That's right. Anyway, moving on. There's the jet engine Thomas. I was also obsessed with this one when I first got it, and it's the model that came with the crate car and the jet engine car, as well as a DVD that plays the Thomas and the Jet Engine episode, in which I was very well into when it was fresh off the box. And just yeah, I was it was a time in my life of when I was really into battery operated Thomas and Friends. Now, these are just some CGI Trackmaster Thomases from 2009, I think. I think one of them is from that Risky Rails bridge drop set or something, and I don't remember where the other one came from. Anyway, as I've already talked about how I painted this model's running board white with black lamp irons, just because I had plans to make a homemade model out of this one. I originally wanted to either turn this model into either a Super Mario Thomas character model or a Jet Engine Thomas character model, but you know, I can't really decide what to do with this thing anymore, other than probably rare occasions or something, but we'll all just have to wait and see. Anyway, moving on, there's the paint splatter Thomas from that 2009 also, I think, and you know, it's the one that came with that wobbly freight car that came with the little splatters of paint cans and stuff. Anyway, now let's move on to the redesign Trackmaster Thomases that I have thus far. There's the here we have just the standard Thomas and the Tornado set Thomas. And this I don't remember where this one came from. I didn't do much research on reminders and stuff. I think it was a 2-car train pack set. But either way, it's quite kind of cool looking. I think it's Big World, Big Adventures Thomas or something. And here's a moss-covered Thomas from the Escape from the Scrapyard set. And here's the jet plane Thomas. Now, this is a model I really enjoy. Anyway, if it yes, this is pretty soon. I'll end up coming with some pretty good modifications for this model, so it'll look pretty cool in a Sticky Toffee Thomas remake. But that's just that's not on my radar just yet. But you know, only time will tell. Ugh, that's getting so old. It's so hard being original nowadays. There's a golden treasure Thomas. I think it's maybe a Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure Thomas. Anyway, I do know that this is the Toms that came with the bridge jump set. And this Thomas, it's a mud Thomas. I can't recall where this one came from. And that's a seaweed Thomas that came with the a skiff boat and rescue set. And let's see, moving on, there's Seagull Thomas that came with the boat and sea set. Oh, and the Fireball Thomas, which came with the Thomas and Dragon set. And that was one of my Christmas presents from last year. And finally, we've got the original Green Thomas from The Adventure Begins. Now, moving on to the Percy's. Let's see. Here's a that's a Trackmaster Percy. I received it from Amazon, which came with a mail truck, and it's replacing the old Tomy Percy that I've been using since 2008, and ever since 2016, I think, its motor just stopped, just kept getting stuck against its drive wheels and stuff. So, yeah, that's it. This is a more functional and much more fresher, better Percy. There's the Percy I've turned into Luigi. I don't know what to do with it later. And there's a ghostly Percy. It's a little white powdery Percy, which I might use for Percy's ghostly trick. Now here are the Jameses. This is a James model that I've used since 2009. And its eyebrows are gone now. This is, I think, the second standard James model I've ever gotten in my life. This one replaces the old one that just... oh, no, wait. I think it's the third James I ever gotten. The third James model that's replacing the second one that replaced the first one that broke. There's the Busy Bee James. I think it's also from 2009. And there's the James at Boulder Mountain James, which I've kept to this day since I first received it. And once again, it's perfectly functional. There's my RC James, and it's one of those models that has kind of a rusty battery anchor in its battery case. But once again, functions just perfectly. There's the redesigned James that came with that spooky Let's Be Brave set. Oops, sorry. See that? And here are my Gordons. There's the standard Gordon that's replaced the very first Gordon that I've gotten, and I've had this. I don't recall, when did I have it? Probably 2007, I think. Maybe that's my best guess. Anyway, here's also the Indignity Gordon and the Shooting Star Gordon. And up here we've got the Gordon that's now my homemade Michael the Double Tender Engine model. Let's move on to the narrow gauge engines. There's Scarloli, another model which I probably had for more than a decade. And there's Rheneas, didn't have it for that long. Sir Handel, yes, for that long, as well as Rusty. And this model Duncan. And this model Duncan, I don't remember when I got it. Probably like, I guess 2008, while I was still fresh as a YouTuber. And there's Freddy and Luke and my homemade smudger and Duke, which I've got in 2009. There's my standard Victor. Once again, had it since 2009. And my talking Victor. And yeah, that's it's also works perfectly. And two more models I've gotten since 2008, Billy and Whiff. And this Arthur model, I think I've Probably had it since 2006. Still works good. There's the pink Rosie. And there's Stephanie and Lady. Now, one of her side rods broke a long time ago. Just replacing it with this white one, and still got its gold one and stuff. I think I might decide to paint that one white rod gold or something. I don't know why I didn't decide to do that a long time ago. I guess I thought another gold side rod was going to come sooner or later, but now I'm starting to lose hope on that. Anyway, there's also Ryan right there. And we move up to this section. There's Stanley, and there's Porter, and Timothy, Charlie, and Samson, Scruff, Den and Dart, and Paxton, and Dodge, Diesel 10, and Mavis. This is, yeah, Airy. I still don't have Bert. And even back in 2013 when I did my Halloween episode remake, and I did some Photoshop tricks to clone Airy to make it look like Airy and Bert, but nope, it's just the same Airy model photoshopped into to make it look like yeah, that's it. But I am gonna get Bert someday. And there's Diesel. There's Caitlin and Steven. And there's Hank, the original 2009 Hank. Hank still works. And that's Murdoch and Harvey and Neville and Donald and Douglas. And there's Emily, and this is the redesigned Trackmaster Toby, replacing the my Tomy Toby, which once again has gets its drive wheel stuck against the motor. But you know, at least at least that Tomy Toby I have now is still good for puppeteering work in videos. Anyway, there's Henry and Edward, which are once again models I've had for a really, really long time and are still functioning. This Edward one is older than the Henry one, probably like the same amount of time. Like yeah, it's been with me for the same amount of time as my Gordon model. Anyway, let's see. Up here, there's my Timothy model. Oh yeah, and there's Skiff. And there's Nia and Rebecca. Oops, wrong name. It's Philip. That's James's RC remote. And Flying Scotsman. There's my homemade gold Thomas. And now we've got Mike, my homemade Spider-Man tank engine, my homemade Bluebell, which you know, has been around since 2009. And there's Wilbert, a 2008 homemade model, and Stafford, and Gator, the logging locos, Bash, Dash, and Ferdinand. There's Hugo, and there's my homemade patchwork hero. There's Meredith. Why didn't I remind myself before recording? It's pronounced Marilyn. And Flynn and Bell. And that's Bill right here. And there's and here we got this little Japanese steam locomotive model that's that I got from Amazon. And I plan to there's plenty of Japanese Tamika models on Amazon, and I plan to keep on finding them and purchasing them for future videos. I gotta tell you, they're all those Japanese Tomy products on Amazon. They're quite cool looking, despite their expensive prices and stuff. All right, now that we got the first section done, now we're going to move on to the second section. That's that includes the models that are unexpectedly yeah, gone with the wind, and then finally we'll move on to the third section, which I already got set up on the on this shelf right here. But on the table here we have the models that I've as a matter of fact, just this morning I was doing an inspection to see how my trains were doing when I've noticed that only one of them had kind of a rusty battery anchor and stuff. I unexpectedly found even more rusty anchors, which threw me off by surprise, and just that kind of, it was so embarrassing because I did not. Anyway, let's just see what we got here now, shall we? So, well, first, here are my homemade tank engine. Oh, go away, Dust Bunny. Here are my homemade tank engine Chad and Friends characters, as you may know from my homemade series of two-dimensional cartoons. These ones are still perfectly functional. There's Chad, Jackaroo, and Henry. I meant to say Eric. I already made that mistake several video minutes earlier. And as you can tell, there's the Chad is made from a Thomas with a Peter Sam funnel, and there's an Edward running wheel and some wheel arches from an Ertl James model. And this Percy model for Jackaroo, I think, was a Percy that came with a search and rescue gear and stuff. And there's a Henry model for Eric, whose motor got swapped with a James model motor, which is now my Johnny model. And that's Johnny, the black and white, and Kathy, the red Rosie. These are the models that they're having like a little bit of difficulty and stuff, but you know, I don't think I'm not that upset. I just these are homemade models. You can't replace them. They can still have some good use. Like they can still be puppeteered and stuff. So if I do find use for them, I won't. There'll be no need to have them running by themselves or something. Let's see. I don't think the Johnny model has a rusty battery stem or something, or does it? No, it doesn't. I think it's maybe it's just old or something. But let me show you an example of one of the worst cases I found of a rusty battery stem. See that? I mean, just this morning when I took a look at this R.C. Stanley's batteries, they were completely like they were terrible looking. Like the batteries were were all bloated and just had it was a whole mess of rust dust and stuff. Yeah, bummer me. Oh well. Anyway, let's start with well, at least all these following models were perfectly good while they lasted. There's Hero and Molly and Ben, which is another model I've had since 2008, as well as Proteus here. And just like Lady, one of his side rods broke and is replaced with a white rod. And Boko and Peter Sam. There's the special like Slippy Sodor Thomas. You know that episode from when he had that that funny red funnel. And here's a Celebration Thomas, which I only had use for in one video. But this came with the Trackmaster Nafford Station stuff. But you know, this will be used for future videos someday, since you can just take off the plastic body shell and replace it on a different running board of Thomas. Anyway, there's Splatter, this is a model that I did not discover had dysfunctional problems this morning today. This was from a long time ago and stuff. I don't recall when. Anyway, here are the duck models. There's my close shave for duck model. This one is actually perfectly normal, but not this one. No, but that's maybe it's just more than a rusty stem or something. But at least I can perfectly, you know, swap the body shells. There you go. You got the picture now. And here's my Oliver that I had since 2008. And yep, this is the model that you've seen in the third ever YouTube video ever posted. You know, something I got from eBay. That's right. Back then, a lot of the our new miniatures, or at least my new miniatures, were mostly just came from eBay or Walmart. And unlike Amazon, some of the more rare and expensive ones just didn't exist there. But yeah, that's I should have done some maintenance work on these models a very long time ago, like very often and stuff. Oh well, I was kind of interested in getting a replacement Oliver anyway. Now, moving on, there's the engines that there's the original R.C. Thomas from that Titmuch Shed set. There's the Talking Salty and R.C. Stanley and Talking James and Talking Henry. This James was already having problems, which signaled me into a red flag, way redder than his paint work, I guess. His every time he was running, his motor just kept making some awful grinding sound, and I could not figure out what the problem was or stuff. Maybe just something with the gears or something or whatever. But you know, if he never needed to be replaced, then he I guess he will be replaced now and stuff. Like if I want to use a different James rather than my usual James every once in a while and stuff. But anyway, now here's my my Connor model. This is another model that's that I've already know that he has functional problems, like and he'll definitely be replaced someday, including splatter. There's my homemade 16 model, and he's made from a Thomas the Tank Engine model that came with my Hector model back in 2008, and now he's got a rusty battery stem that's completely dead now. But like I said earlier, it's just a homemade model, so it can't be replaced. It'll stay here as a souvenir, and just be used for puppeteering work every once in a while. And finally, there's Glynn. He's once again, his batteries were found expanded and just completely dusted and covered in rust dust, as well as his spring ring spokes. But thankfully for me, I already have a replacement Glynn right here. I mean, my parents, or at least one family member, just accidentally got me 2 Glynns for Christmas or something. And well, I had a feeling I needed a second Glynn to be transformed into an old, deserted Glynn to represent the way he used to look, according to The Adventure Begins. Alright, well, now moving on to the third section, it is time to... Voila! Some models that have not been seen yet in YouTube video just quite yet. There's Lorenzo and Bep, and there's Jenna or Gina and Epiteno. I'm still having trouble pronouncing his name. Did you know that his name is actually French for Steven? What? Okay. There's Lexi and Helpful Harvey. There's oh, Hurricane. Yeah, that's right. Young Bao, and that's the skiff that that came with Ryan, I think. Anyway, there's Ashima. This is the light up Ashima. Watch. See? It's the glow in the dark model that came with glowing tracks. And Rebecca. Her with all those quite interesting gadgets and stuff. And finally, here's my brand new Spencer that's replacing the old Spencer that I've once again is a model that I've had back in 2008. And now once his motor just kept sticking and stuff, there's my brand new Spencer, which you'll be seeing in my upcoming Tomy, Gordon, and Spencer remake. Woo! Yeah. And that's all I got to show you. Thank you all for listening, and don't forget to stay safe from the coronavirus, just like me. And yes, that's all the models I got. It's quite a big collection, continuing to grow bigger and bigger every year, thus creating, helping to make my career grow bigger and bigger every year as well. And you guys are part of it as well, don't you know? And I think I'm also going to do a separate video that talks about my collection of rolling stock, thus including carriages and wagons and freight cars, and also a collection of spare parts of engines that I've already used for as pretend scrap metal for 2 of my YouTube videos that I've already done. If you think I should do a video like that, then let me know down below in the comments. And if you like this video, don't forget to let me know as well in the comments once again, and hit that thumbs up. Yeah, normally I would say hit that bell for new notifications, but you know, if you want to do it anyway, despite my slow process, just go ahead and do it. If you supposedly for people who enjoy rare occasions and stuff, I kind of do sometimes. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and thank you all for your patience, and thank you all for your continuous support and requests. And I shall now continue what I can continue according to the amount of energy I have. Excuse me. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Oh. 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 Let's go into the blooper. That was my light setup. Oh. Okay. Well, I'll fix it.